Morning. I came out here this morning to mostly to check on my little trail camera. Um, I got to bring the card in and see if there's anything on it. There hasn't been too much this year so far, other than a little armadillo that we caught. Um, and also, I wanted to mention about 2 weeks ago, I guess it was now. I was helping my dad do some stuff, and he's getting up there quite a bit in years. He's both of them are mid 80s, um, so they're slowly getting rid of a lot of their things that they want to see either passed down or anyhow they're slowly getting rid of a lot of their things. And he handed down to me a couple of his old hunting knives. So that's pretty much what I wanted to do this video for. A couple quick little personal updates. I am still laid off. And it doesn't look like I'm going back to work anytime soon. The last I had heard was maybe early October. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I did finally get my car back from Ford. They seem to have fixed it for a nice fee, but it's back. So I'm pretty thankful about that, I guess. Wife was dealing with some Rocky Mountain spotted fever. She got a tick infection earlier this year. She seems to have recovered well from that. And now we're just dealing with the summer heat. So it's been a really good year to have way behind us. But I do expect that I want to do a lot more hunting this year. I feel the need for it probably more so than many years past, outside of the year that I was going through my divorce. But I really feel the need for it this year to can't really afford beef anymore. It's outrageous. A lot of other things are still hard to find in the grocery store. And as my federal aid runs out at the end of this month, I'm going to be pretty tight for money unless I start looking for a job. So I do feel that need for hunting more. I've been doing quite a few more exercises trying to strengthen my shoulders. It's been a few years, probably 5 I think, since I even had my bow out. So been dealing with shoulder problems the last couple years, and I just put a bow aside. Haven't even thought about it until really this year. So I try to get out and get practiced up on that too. Went yesterday to the doctor because I'm having some shoulder issues here, and gave me a nice big hefty shot, and wants me back in a few weeks. It's possible that there's a torn rotator cuff, so we'll see. I'm not even sure. I haven't tried in a while to pull that bow back, so we'll see. But I do feel the need for more hunting this year. So all those little personal updates aside, let me get to the whole purpose for this video, was to show you some of the knives my dad just passed down to me. Oh, I did. I know we talked about the Polish bread bag haversack I made for my wife, and I made myself one almost identical to it. I'll go into a bigger detail in another date on that one, because I'm still trying to set up the contents the way I want it. A little bit different strap, but overall the same bread bag. So, so I've got these 3 knives that I want to show you that were my dad's. So they got a lot of sentimental value. Okay, this first one, I remember just the way you see this. I'm in my 50s, and I remember my dad almost always in his hunting attire with this on his hip, including the green duct tape. So I know he has had this quite some time. Um, I'm just going to take a guess and say that he probably bought it in the 50s. I really don't know. That's a good question. I need to ask him that. Um, but it is a Case double X. As you can see, it's at least the sheath itself has gotten quite a bit of use. The stitching's kind of dry rotted out. Some of the leather itself, it's not really in bad shape for as old as it is, though. Some of the leather's a little bit tore, but it's still. I remember this as. I mean, this has got to be his favorite knife ever. Um, Matter of fact, when he was suggesting knives for me when I was growing up, asking those kind of questions, it was the first knife that he suggested for me as a good all-around hunting knife, and it was the first knife that I bought for myself. But I lost mine because I did not have the snap fastened good, or at least I thought I had it fastened and it wasn't. And I went fishing down here in Bumpus Mills, matter of fact, and it must have sat on my hip and then fell out, and who knows where it is. But so this is that little knife that I remember my dad using so often. Again, it's a Case double X. A lot smaller now than over time. He had at one point broke the tip off of it and ground it down and put a new tip on this one. And then, as you can see, because the next knife I'm going to show you is another Case double X that he probably bought in the early 1990s, and you can see how much of the blade has been ground down. Most of this, I'm going to say, has been ground down probably by trying to put a new point on it, and then just over time, sharpening and just usage. But he has almost always used this knife for everything. Deer hunting, it was his field dressing knife. Trout fishing, it was his little gutting knife. And rabbit hunting, again, it was his skinning knife and field dressing knife. My dad is not much of a squirrel hunter, but I know he would have used it had he went. And I cannot remember a time when my dad was not using this knife. It's just always, it is a part of him. It's always attached at his hip, and it's got to be his favorite knife. I'm willing to bet it is. Okay, so I'm going to set that down for a second, and then the second knife again is a Case double X. As you can tell, they have not changed much over the years. And I don't know much about this. I don't even know how often he carried it or not, but I can tell you the first one he has used and carried a lot. So again, this is just a regular Case double X that he had just passed on down to me, which is good because it replaces the one I lost. I have since bought one, a K-bar one, basically the same design, modeled after. I don't know who comes first, this one or that one, but either way, I think the case, compared to the two that I have now, this particular case and the K-bar that I have, I'm going to say that the case is probably the better of the two knives. At least I'm going to like it better. I wish I knew how they got that writing on there, because for this next knife that I am going to show you, as I was cleaning it up a little bit, some of that writing has kind of cleaned off, and I'm a little upset with myself for that. But okay, so here it is. I'm saving the best one for the last. I've got some video footage too of how it was when my dad just now handed it down to me. It is a Puma. It's a white hunter. My dad bought it when he was in Germany in the early 60s. I think he said 1963, and in Stuttgart. So this knife itself is older than me. Well, so is probably the first case too. The sheath itself has got obviously quite a bit of use on it. It's the original sheath. You can still see right there, made in Germany. Maybe you can see that. Anyhow, it's stamped in there. I can read it right now. I can tell you that in the early 90s, a guy that we both used to work with, my dad gave him the sheath to do some modifications to. Most of the stitching had rotted away, or at least cut away, and the snap was, the original snap was broke off on this side, so that guy put a new snap on it, stitched it up, and then stamped my dad's initials and these little leaves in it also. The Puma, the lion and the Puma symbol is the original. So here is the knife itself. It is a carbon steel, highly polished, but I could not tell you. I tried looking that up a little while ago too, and as I try to do research on it, I can find the more information on the modern, because this knife is still in production, the modern Puma, than I can this one. Matter of fact, you're supposed to be able to put some numbers in there and trace back how old it goes, and I think that database goes back to 1964, and these numbers, the 6377, keep coming back as an invalid number when I tried to date the knife. But I can tell you my dad bought it in 1963, so it was either made in 63 or before. But he bought it brand new. And here's the writing, which is kind of wore off. It had a couple stains in it, I think, from sitting in the sheath, and when I was trying to clean it up, I was able to get some of the stain out of it, but at the same time the lettering is fading, and I don't want to mess with that anymore. But it says Puma White Hunter, genuine, and I cannot tell you this other word is at all. Genuine something steel, Germany. The handle is stag. There is a little bit of greening that took place on some of the brass rivets, but some of that's coming off now that as I keep rubbing on it and stuff. It's quite the knife, really. I think I am going to enjoy it. It is another knife that I remember on my dad's hip quite often. I know he used it quite a bit hunting. And it's been, like I said, it too is part of his person. I can picture all the hunting clothes that he may have wore, and you know, there that was, just dangling from his hip. So I can tell you just by some little research I did that it's quite the expensive knife. The used ones on eBay are in excess of upper 300s. Brand new ones are still in the upper 300s. So not that I care anything about cost, but it just tells me that it's a pretty good quality knife. Just holds its value. My dad was not one for buying something, putting it in the box, and just putting it away. He's a very practical man, and as he's going to purchase something, he's buying it for his own needs, his own uses, and he is going to use it. He's going to take care of it, but he is going to put it to use. So he's going to invest his money in something that's going to do well for him. Sitting it on a closet shelf in a box is not doing him any good. Other than, so that's just the way my dad is. He's very practical. He's going to buy something once, hopefully, and it's going to last him a lifetime. So, like I said, I cleaned it up. It had some rough spots in it. Still does, but you know, it's like I said, it's early 1960s, so it's been around 40, 60 years or so, you know. Like I said, I cleaned it up. I sharpened it, not nearly as good as he probably would have, but I'm currently happy with it, and I hope that I put it to as many years of use as he did. I am going to get away, fly. I am going to make myself a new sheath for it, mostly because I don't want to add to any more damage that's going to take place to this sheath. So I'm going to make myself a sheath for it, and then add to its history. So those are the knives that my dad had given me just a couple weeks ago. Um, I don't really know. I'm very appreciative of them. I have some good memories watching my dad use them, and I know they were items that he thought a lot of. So therefore, I am going to also. But I just wanted to share that with you. I think they're pretty cool myself. It's a combination. I like the Puma is pretty awesome knife, I think, and then the original of the case knives, and that he ground it down, put a new tip on it, and comparing it to a regular case XX now, how much just over time that knife blade is reduced down to being the smallest of almost little baby fillet knives is the way my mind pictures it, and just I don't know, I find that one kind of fascinating too, just because I can't, like I said, I can't think of a time when I've never seen my dad using that knife. So it got used for skinning deer, it got used for butchering deer, field dressing, obviously, I just know it was a favorite knife of his. So, um, again, I'm just going to rattle on if I let myself. So I just want to wrap this up. I just wanted to show you the knives again real fast that my dad had just given me, that were his. And guess we'll see you next time.